Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Geigenomics. Before we begin, hit that subscribe and like button for the algorithms. That really helps. Now, we're going to talk about equality. There are two meanings of the word equality that are used interchangeably. The first is that human beings are equal in their species as a biological organism and acting being. The second is that human beings are equal in regards to their lives, of what they should possess and be treated by others. The former is a descriptive claim, while the latter is a normative claim that fosters the collectivist ideologies. So, in discussing equality, it helps to understand more than one language, because sometimes there's words when you only know one language that can have multiple meanings. And so in understanding multiple languages, you can learn how there are different words for different meanings. But in the English language, equality can mean a couple different things. And for what we're going to discuss equality in the philosophical sense, it helps to separate these two meanings. So in the one sense, when we talk about equality, we're talking about equality of species, in the sense that human beings are equal in regards to their DNA structure. This is their biological composition, in their in the fact that they're living and breathing organisms, in that humans act. You cannot not act. So in the praxeological sense, human beings are actors, and we move in this sense. Now, what has become popular to champion is equality in the normative sense, in the sense that we should apply a value judgment to how human beings should be living. Now, what you can see today is that it's been popularized by the universities. It's been popularized by celebrities, by athletes, by corporations, to champion equality. But this is there's nothing behind it. It's not weighted on anything. Before we talk about individuals, we can look at the nations, and there's no equality of nations. You have nationalism, which is the exact opposite of equality, which preaches that one nation should be better than the others, and they promote this nationalist isolationism or autarky, where the nations are sufficient on their own means, and this is the opposite of individualism, or the philosophies of laissez-faire, laissez-passer, or free trade. Okay, so equality among nations would be impossible. On the nations alone, you have geographical factors that play into whether nations are able to have trade by sea or by land or by coast or by plain. Whether one nation can have ports, several ports, or only a few ports, or whether one country has no coastal region, and so they're not able to access the coastal trading as much as a land or a coastal country is able to, or an island country is able to. And so when you look upon also the latitudes and the longitudes different countries are able to grow different types of crops. Some are better at tobacco, some are better at cotton, some are better at fruits, some are better at roots and grains, and this plays into humidity. The weather is not equal in regards to where it rains more often and where it is more humid or where it's more dry. And so in this sense, even within the same nation, you have states that have very different geographical factors, and so this makes it very difficult to even entertain the possibility that we can grow the same products among these same states or nations. But if we look at David Ricardo's insight of comparative advantage, even if a country lacks the ability to grow or specialize in industry or manufacturing a product as much as another competing nation or state, it still benefits the less productive producer state or nation to produce something else, or the product that they're marginally able to produce. Because when free trade is allowed and you eliminate tariffs, you eliminate protectionist laws, then consumers are better off. They're served better from more available products at lower prices. When you impose tariffs, when you impose protectionism, and try to enhance a domestic market, all you're doing, and you can impose your unions and trade laws, but although you can increase monetary wages, real wages are not increased. If anything, prices on the domestic markets for goods have gone up, and so although monetary wages can be increased and boasted by the governments and the champions of the governments as helping the people, in essence, the real wage has not increased above the marginal utility of labor or the productivity. So people are not better off with protectionism, trade laws, and these sorts of things. Now, when we talk about the individual level, many people point out that some people aren't as good of basketball players as other people, and this is one example of an inequality in the physiological sense, where people have different abilities. But even if we disregard physical capabilities, there's also intellectual capacities that some people have that are considered to be genius. One way to measure this is IQ levels. But again, this individuals are all actors. In that sense, they are equal, but at the individual level, equality is meaningless. It means nothing unless you are trying to champion the doctrine of equality in the collectivist sense, where you are actually pushing for like the philosophy of communism. If you want socialism, then champion equality all you want. But making the point that human beings aren't equal, even in their physiological sense, their intellectual abilities separates the geniuses, the people who can serve consumers better than other people can, new technologies, innovations, the arts, the philosophies, the music, all the things that we find beautiful in life that's made by hand or written or created, the televisions, all the video games, these are all made by, creative people who specialize in their own line of interest. And that's why I like how Professor Per Byland put this, that the economy is not a machine. It's more of a organism. And to eliminate it, as Karl Marx wanted, to eliminate the market is to completely alter what man is, what he does, and substitute it for these socialist policies, these government caretaker policies. And this can happen. It has happened before. But what you have seen is that consumers or people are taken care of, but they're no longer served by the entrepreneurs who provide goods and services on the market. And so when people are no longer served and just taken care for, they're no longer treated as people. They're treated as liabilities. And this is why all the worst atrocities happen under communism, because under a communist regime, in order to get people to do what I want to do, you have to intimidate them, because there are no incentives. Profits are removed. The profit motive that capitalism thrives off of in producing the millions of industries, if not billions, that are provided to people, when that's severed and removed, the only way to get people to work and to come together is through intimidation. And this intimidation takes the form of murders. It takes the form of tortures. It takes the form of kidnappings. All the worst stuff that you can think of that has happened in history comes under this stupid idea of equality. It means nothing. I treat everyone with respect because I see that people are unique. They're individuals. In their own sense, they have their own stories. And I wouldn't want people to be gray, faceless blobs. This mask mandate, it's egalitarian in the sense that everyone doesn't have a smile. So that is where we'll end it. All right. Thank you.